Hey everyone, I hope you had an amazing Easter with your loved ones, and I'm really excited to be back here again with you today, especially because I'm filming on a professional microphone. I really hope you can tell the difference, and I'm sorry it took so long because I know a lot of you have said to me for a long time, improve your audio. So all credit goes to my amazing husband who took the initiative because I was just being really lazy. Now, in the last couple of months, I've had a lot of fun sharing with you all sorts of luxury reviews, but today I've decided to take a break because I want to share with you some drama. I encountered a horrible online shopping experience on a huge platform, eBay, and it happened to me when I was purchasing luxury goods. But really what I went through, any of you might experience if you spend a significant sum online, whether it's on homewares or electronics or collectibles. So I thought that I would share my experience as a cautionary tale on how to protect yourself online, so hopefully none of you have to go through my roller coaster experience. Now, I have to preface my story with the fact that I've been collecting luxury bags, shoes and accessories for 5 years. I consider myself very experienced and very comfortable shopping pre-loved luxury online, and eBay, even after this horrible disaster, still remains one of my favorite websites to use for luxury bargains. So I believe my story shows that you can be the most veteran online shopper who has had dozens and dozens of successful purchases, but still you can encounter misfortune, and it's a completely different ballgame trying to navigate an expensive situation that turns sour. Even when it comes to drama, I love keeping my videos structured, so I'm going to be taking you through 5 parts. When the situation was rosy versus when it turned sour, eBay's handling of the situation, PayPal's handling of the situation, and finally, but most importantly, the lessons I've learned, which I'm going to apply to all future expensive purchases to avoid myself going through this nightmare again. Although it took 2 months and 2 days for the matter to be resolved, the good news is that ultimately it was resolved in my favor. Although I did not lose any money, I did lose a lot of time continuously chasing up the matter, continuously arguing my case, and of course I had that feeling of this dark cloud of stress hanging over my shoulders for weeks on end. I honestly hope none of you go through what I experienced, but if you're ever unlucky, I really do hope the lessons I share today will help you to navigate these murky waters. I hope I haven't scared you guys too much. Let's get into it. Boxing Day last year, my husband and I finished a super long day exploring Amsterdam, and when we returned to our hotel room, my husband realized that eBay Australia was holding a 10% off site-wide promotion. I was so excited because for a couple of weeks I had my eye on an extremely well-priced Van Cleef & Arpels Alhambra ring. It was my size, in mint condition, and it was exactly the color I wanted. Brand new, this mother of pearl and diamond ring retails for over 4,000 Australian, but the Japanese reseller had listed it for the very humble price of just over 1,800 US dollars with free shipping. When you apply the 10% off coupon, it ends up just over 2,300 Australian, which is almost a 50% saving compared to me buying the ring brand new from my local boutique. During checkout and PayPal payment on eBay, there's an option to add a note to seller. Here I mentioned to the seller that I was going to be overseas until mid-January, so I requested they delay the shipment. I also asked whether they could lower the value declaration, which is a very popular service that a lot of luxury resellers provide so that you can save on taxes at customs. The next morning I woke up and I had an alert that they had shipped the ring. I privately messaged the seller to voice my confusion. Did they get my note during checkout? I thought about asking them to cancel the shipment, but then I thought, hey, they're a really experienced seller. They've had more than 1,000 transactions, of which 99% positive, they must know what they're doing. So I simply reiterated again privately that I was going to be overseas until mid-January. The seller responded and said that yes, they do lower the value declaration, and they would even wrap my ring in happy birthday gift paper to justify it as a present from Japan. Since they didn't flag my overseas absence as an issue, I just assumed that they had nominated a very slow shipping service, which would be well timed when I return home almost 3 weeks later. The next day, I received a notification. They had shipped it via International Priority, DHL, and it was going to arrive at my home address in Sydney in 3 days. Since I couldn't physically be at home to sign and receive the parcel, I looked into the other DHL delivery options. I could delay shipment for 1 week, but since I was going to be overseas for another 2.5, that wasn't going to work. I could have it redirected to another address with signature on arrival, but I didn't really want to trouble. The third option was that I could have it delivered to a secure PO box, which I have a key to, and I thought that's perfect. I could have my parcel sitting there for a couple of weeks, and then I can pick it up at my leisure when I return home. 30th December, I received the delivered notification, and I just assumed that was the end of it. I went back to holiday mode, and I was pretty excited thinking that when I do return home, I have this gorgeous ring waiting for me. January 13th, the morning after I landed, the first thing I did when I woke up was dash to the PO box. It had been 2 weeks since I received the delivered notification, and I was really excited about my parcel from Japan. However, when I opened it, it was empty. I called DHL to raise a flag, and they said that actually the estimated date for parcel delivery was 16th January. And this is because DHL doesn't deliver directly to PO boxes, so they had to hand over the parcel to Australia Post to complete the delivery. This means that when I received the delivered notification of December 30th, it was actually when DHL handed over the parcel to Australia Post. So when I went onto Australia Post's tracking website, the last scan for my parcel was 3rd of January at their mail sorting facility. 16th January, I checked and no parcel. DHL advised that because of the redirection request, it can take up to 21st of January. 21st January, I checked and again no parcel. This time, DHL said that when they contacted Australia Post declared it officially lost in transit, and therefore I should alert my seller. As a precaution, DHL also checked on their end to see if the parcel had been returned without scanning. But the next day they advised that wasn't the case. I had actually been updating my seller since January 13th. Every time they were friendly, and they said they hoped my parcel would arrive soon. When I finally told them that the parcel was lost and that I would require a full refund, they said that they would reimburse me only to the amount which they declared, which was 900 Australian. This would leave me out of pocket more than 1,400. None of this would have happened if they followed my original instructions, which was to delay shipment. When it comes to online shopping, most disappointments fall under 2 categories. It doesn't arrive or it isn't as described. For that reason, eBay has a money-back guarantee which covers those 2 situations, and the first step to setting up a claim is to open a request. Looking at your purchase history, you can select the request action next to the item of concern, and this opens a new formal forum where you and the seller can message one another with the entire conversation documented, ready for official review by eBay if you and the seller cannot reach an agreement after 5 working days. We went back and forth for weeks. Finally, out of the blue, 7th February, the seller escalated the request to eBay. The seller argued that I was lying, and 30th December was when DHL had delivered to me. I had received the parcel, and then I chose to have it delivered on to the PO box, after which it got lost. As per eBay's money-back guarantee exclusions, the seller was arguing their case under the stance items shipped to another address after original delivery. In just over 24 hours, eBay ruled the case in favor of the seller simply because of the DHL notification feed that said delivered on 30th December. It did not matter to eBay that there was no proof of delivery to my address. I immediately lodged an appeal and I said to eBay that the 30th December notification was when DHL handed over to Australia Post mail sorting facility, after which it got lost. Unless eBay considers a mail sorting facility to be a place where I physically received my parcel, this would be defined instead as lost in transit in handover between two mail service providers. The parcel never reached my nominated address, whether it be my original home address or my new redirected PO box address. Original delivery never occurred. I asked eBay to give me an email address where I could submit my proof, because whether it's a request or a case on eBay, you're not allowed to attach any documents. To my utter disappointment, 9th of February, eBay still ruled the case in favor of the seller and they closed the case permanently. I don't give up without a fight, so minutes later on the same day, I opened my case under PayPal's buyer protection policy. The standard procedure is that you open your case online through your PayPal account, but this is only possible if your transaction is visible under your purchase history. Unfortunately, in my case, just because everything was going wrong, my transaction was not visible, so I had to call PayPal up and ask a staff member to manually open up a case for me. My case was instantly escalated into a claim thanks to the staff member over the phone. A PayPal generated email stated that the seller had 10 days to argue their side of the story. I can't express enough how those 10 days felt like an eternity. This was especially because since my claim was created manually, I had no way of tracking it through my online account as per standard procedure. Instead, any action on the claim would generate an email. So technically, no news is good news. Finally, when we reached the 10th day, I excitedly rang up PayPal and I thought they could confidently close the claim. The staff told me that I needed to wait until the end of the 18th, i.e. midnight 19th February, and then 100% I would receive an automatically generated email stating the claim was closed in my favor. Next morning, 19th, I woke up and no email. I called again and the staff said that PayPal was running on American time, so I needed to give them one extra day and then 100% I would get that automatically generated email. Next morning, 20th, nothing. So I called again and the staff member said that according to her screen, she could see that there was 42 hours remaining on my case, and so, but then 100% the case would be closed in my favor by noon on the 22nd. So an agonizing 2 days later, it's past noon on the 22nd, and guess what? There's still no email. Meanwhile, in a separate chain of events, 11th of February, I had sent an online inquiry to PayPal asking how can I track my claim when it doesn't show up in my online account claim history. Finally, on the 21st of February, they replied and they said that they need 30 days to assess my case from the day in which it escalated. And in this time, they're going to assess the evidence provided by both sides. This puzzled me because up until now, all the staff I had talked to had never given me an opportunity to supply my evidence. However, the good news is that unlike eBay, where you cannot attach any documents, on PayPal you can. So I immediately submitted my proof, which was my DHL email chain. And I also made it pretty clear that I was frustrated because on 4 separate occasions, I was told completely separate deadlines, and it just seemed like they were dangling a carrot in front of me and stretching out the determination date at their will. Finally, 26th February, exactly 2 months from when I purchased the ring and embarked on this whole debacle, PayPal issued me an email stating that they were closing the case in my favor and that I would receive a full refund. This took 2 days from when I submitted my evidence, or 17 days from when I first opened my case on PayPal. It really puzzles me why none of the 4 staff I talked to gave me an opportunity to submit my evidence. I think the determination would have taken a lot longer if I had not been proactive and submitted it myself. Although PayPal warned that the refund could take up to 30 days, the great news is that I received it on 28th February, only 2 days later. In this final section, I'm going to exit storytelling mode to share with you all the lessons I've learned so that hopefully you and I will never have to go through this horrible experience ever again. Expensive purchases should only be by courier. The courier should take the parcel to your doorstep and they should release it only via your signature or the signature of someone you trust. This means that if you do deliver to a non-street address, for example, a parcel locker or a PO box, check first to see if the courier can deliver to those places. If not, for an expensive item, just do not nominate those addresses. It's not worth the risk of the professional courier handing over your parcel to an incompetent local postal service who most likely will lose it. If possible, delay important shipments outside peak periods. Online orders surge during public holidays and celebrations such as Christmas, Thanksgiving, so there's a higher chance of your parcel being lost. You can still purchase on time to take advantage of sales and promotions, but contact your seller to ask if they can delay the shipment by a week or 2 when it's quieter. Beware the possibility of thieves in local postal services who target international packages because they have their value and their item description publicized for customs. They're essentially sitting ducks for immoral staff members. It can help to deter unwanted attention if your seller uses descriptions like used accessory or decorative accessory instead of jewelry. The smaller the parcel, the greater the chance of thievery or accidental loss. This makes fine jewelry the highest risk item to receive by mail, considering its high value and its tiny size. If you have delivery instructions, private message the seller rather than relying on a note during checkout. Copy and paste the text so that it's quick and easy for you to repeat the same message. The benefit of sending them a private message is that your request is also logged in the message history, so they have no excuse to say that they did not receive it. Never assume. If you feel like the seller has missed your instructions, point it outright so that you're instantly on the same page. It's better for you to seem rude and overbearing to the seller rather than for them to make a delivery error which results in the item never reaching you. If your parcel does not arrive, ensure you receive every update from your courier by email, not phone call. In this day and age, there's a lot of fraud with people claiming to not receive parcels when they actually have. So having written statements from your courier explaining that the situation is out of your hands is the best way to prove instantly your innocence. PayPal buyer protection is the real deal. Whether you're buying something big or small, ensure you always use PayPal when you check out. You should also check that the account you use for your online purchase is the same as your account for PayPal. Avoid mixing accounts throughout the checkout process because this will complicate your ability to lodge a claim in the future if you need it. This is what happened to me. As you know, the staff had to manually open up a claim for me because in my PayPal account and my husband's PayPal account, we could not see the transaction. And that was because I had purchased via my eBay account, but checked out using my husband's PayPal account. So the information got lost along the way. Now, everyone who knows me in real life knows that I never swear, but today I do need to make an exception. From my experience with eBay Australia, eBay money back guarantee is worth shit all. I've learned it's all quite political. PayPal receives revenue from buyers and sellers. eBay receives revenue from only sellers. PayPal and eBay are actually owned by the same company, so it makes no sense for eBay to shoot itself in its foot and penalize its sellers when they know that ultimately PayPal will always be involved and PayPal will always rule in favor of the buyer. From that perspective, if you have an urgent claim and you can't wait weeks or months for it to be resolved, I would say don't even bother with the eBay claim policy. Just go straight to PayPal with your proof. However, it is worth noting that the eBay money back guarantee is in the United States, Australia, Canada, and UK. eBay has instead a buyer protection policy for Germany and a customer guarantee policy for France and Italy. I don't really know how those policies are different, so I guess it would come down to you reading the fine print and seeing if it's more effective. In general, with eBay money back guarantee and PayPal buyer protection, I've found in my experience that they keep their assessment really simple and straightforward. I used to think that eBay would look at your profile purchase history, and my track record of making multiple expensive purchases without dispute would help to support my honest intentions with my one-off claim. However, it's clear they don't look into your background at all. I believe the only factor that would resonate with both eBay and PayPal is not your good behavior, but if you're somebody who repeatedly disputes every purchase, most likely for non-genuine reasons, because you're clearly just exploiting the system. So unfortunately, this means that if you're an honest buyer like me and you just encounter a bit of bad luck and you're reaching out to eBay for the first time in your life for some support, they'll see you with total indifference.